Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be looking into AI book writers, specifically how they're changing things up in the nonfiction world.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree, right? We've all got these great ideas or, interesting research, maybe a life story we want to tell.
Right.
But to actually get it down on paper in a way that's, interesting,
Exactly.
that's the tough part.
Yeah.
And what we're looking at today, the source material, is suggesting that AI could be the key to moving up to that next level as a writer.
Yeah. The source compares an AI book writer to having a tireless co-author.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea, right?
Yeah. You have that constant support, that insight all throughout your writing process.
For sure. But I guess it makes me wonder, right?
Yeah.
Is it really that accurate?
Hmm.
Is it really like collaboration? Or are we just kind of like, handing it all over to the algorithms?
Right. I think it's a good analogy to start with.
Okay.
But it's got its limitations.
Right.
AI is a tool,
Yeah.
powerful, but it's not replacing the person writing. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's more like it's adding to the skills you already have and boosting your creativity.
I like that, boosting creativity.
Yeah.
So the source, it talks about 3 ways that AI can help.
Hmm.
Structuring the story, presenting data, and making the story better.
Yeah.
So let's go through each of those.
Okay.
Can you give us some examples, some real-world examples of how this works?
Sure. So let's start with structuring a narrative, right? Let's say you're writing a memoir.
Okay.
So many memories, right? How do you choose what to include, how to put it all together?
Yeah.
AI can analyze other memoirs, figure out the things that make them work, the patterns, and suggest how to organize your story.
Okay.
Maybe chronologically, by theme, build up to a turning point.
So it's kind of like seeing behind the curtain of how stories work.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, what about the data? Nonfiction has facts, figures.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep it from getting dry for the reader?
Right, right. That's where AI is really good.
Okay.
Imagine a book full of research. Instead of just numbers, AI can help you visualize it,
Right.
make it interesting, like infographics, charts, maybe even tell stories with those numbers.
So data becomes a story. It's kind of magical.
Can be.
But what about, the heart of the story? The
Yeah.
stuff that really grabs the reader. Can AI make that better?
This is where it gets interesting. Think about those parts of a book that give you chills or make you laugh.
I know exactly what you mean.
Right. AI can look at your writing, see the emotional tone, and suggest how to make those moments stronger.
Okay.
Maybe add details, give the character more depth, or write dialogue that really pops.
Well, I see why they call it a co-author.
Yeah.
It really does sound like working together.
Yeah.
Our source mentions BookBud.ai,
Yeah.
like a platform that uses these AI tools.
Right.
Tell us about that.
So BookBud.ai helps writers, right?
Okay.
From that first idea all the way to a finished book.
Wow, that's a big process.
It is. It's got a lot of features like generating content, organizing chapters, polishing your writing, even turning your book into an audio book.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
What we've been talking about really changes how we think about writing a book.
For sure.
It makes you think, what will writing be like in the future as these AI tools keep getting better?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
And it's something we'll talk about more. What we see now is just the start.
Right.
But one thing is clear. AI isn't here to replace authors.
Okay.
It's here to give them more power, to open up new creative ways of writing, things we might not have even imagined before.
I really like that.
Yeah.
It's about pushing boundaries, not getting rid of the human part.
Exactly.
Pretty exciting stuff. But before we jump into the future, I want to hear from you guys, the listeners.
Yeah, good idea.
What's resonating with you?
Yeah.
What AI possibilities are you most excited about? Think about it. We'll talk about that more as we continue this conversation.
Sounds good. The more we dig into this AI writing thing, the more it makes you wonder how it'll change how we see stories themselves.
Yeah, interesting.
Like, if AI can look at all these successful books and figure out what makes them work, those patterns that hook readers, will we just start seeing the same old stories over and over?
Right. Like, will everything become formulaic?
Yeah, exactly. Or could it actually make us more free to try new things,
Okay.
knowing that we have this tool to help refine our work?
That's a really interesting question. It really gets to the core of what it means to be creative, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, are we going to lose something special? That spark that comes from being human
Right.
if we rely too much on algorithms.
Yeah, it's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And I think it all boils down to how we use it.
Okay.
Like any tool, AI can be used in good ways and bad ways.
Right.
As writers, we have to be aware of how we're using it.
Yeah.
It's about using AI to make our own ideas better, not letting it take over our story.
So it's a partnership then,
Exactly.
not like a takeover.
Right.
I think that will make a lot of writers feel better.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, a lot of writers are kind of nervous about all this new technology.
Oh, for sure. And remember, AI is always changing. What we see today is nothing compared to what's coming.
It's true, yeah.
Imagine what we'll be able to do when these tools become even smarter and easier to use.
Yeah.
We could be on the edge of a whole new way of telling stories.
It's exciting and a little scary, right?
That's
Like we're
true.
stepping into the unknown. But it makes you wonder, as we go into this new world, how will readers react?
Mm,
Will they even be able to tell if a book was written with AI or by a person?
that's a good question.
And will they even care?
Those are the big questions, and I don't think anyone really knows the answer yet.
Yeah,
But I think in the end, readers just want a good story.
that's true.
A story that makes them feel something, teaches them something, makes them think. If AI can help us write those kinds of stories, then I think it can be a really good thing.
I agree with that. A good story is a good story no matter how it's written. And speaking of good things, let's not forget the practical side of using AI for writing.
Yeah.
It could make writing easier for people who might have been scared to try before.
Right.
Imagine someone with an amazing story idea, but they don't know how to put it into words.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
AI could give them the support they need to make that story real.
That's a powerful thought.
Yeah,
It could open up writing to so many more people.
yeah.
We might discover all kinds of new voices and stories.
It's like we're talking about creating a whole new generation of storytellers.
Yeah, exactly. It's really inspiring.
So we've covered a lot, from the specific things AI book writers can do to the bigger picture of what it means for writing in general.
We have.
But there's one thing we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
The ethics of it all.
Right.
As AI gets more involved in writing, what questions should we be asking ourselves? Where do we draw the line between help and just letting the machine do it all?
Yeah, that's an important conversation to have. And we need to keep talking about it and thinking about it carefully.
Right.
We need to be thinking about things like who owns the story, intellectual property, and even bias that might be built into the AI.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like any powerful technology, we have to use it responsibly.
It's about using it wisely and ethically,
Yeah,
always remembering the human part of it.
absolutely.
It's complicated, right?
Yeah.
There are potential problems, but also amazing opportunities.
For sure.
But I have to say, I'm feeling really optimistic about the future of writing.
Me too.
How about you?
Yeah, I am too. It's a really exciting time to be a writer.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how all these changes shape how we write and read stories.
Me too.
Okay.
But before we get too lost in the future, let's come back to the present for a minute. We've talked a lot about theory, but I want to hear from you guys, the listeners.
Yeah, good idea.
Have you actually tried using AI in your writing? What was it like?
Yeah.
What problems did you run into? Did you have any breakthroughs? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah, let's keep this conversation going.
Let's talk about it as a community. All right, so we're wrapping up our look at AI and the future of writing.
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot, how AI can help writers, what it means for creativity and stories,
Right.
even like the ethical stuff.
Definitely.
So as we finish up, what's the one big thing you hope listeners take away from all this?
That's a good question. I guess if I had to pick one thing, it's that AI isn't some enemy of creativity. It's a new tool, a powerful one.
Okay.
We should be embracing this stuff, not being afraid of it.
Right.
It's about making ourselves better writers, not getting rid of the human part of stories.
I like that. It's like, we're empowered. We can use this to write better
Right.
while staying true to what makes stories connect with people.
Yeah, exactly. That human connection, the emotions, the ideas, the things we all go through, those are what make stories matter, no matter how they're written.
And you know what else?
What?
This tech is still just getting started.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're only seeing the beginning of what AI can do for writers.
Right. Who knows what amazing new tools we'll have in the future?
It's pretty exciting to be a writer right now.
Definitely. It is.
So to all our listeners out there, stay curious,
Yes.
keep an open mind, and don't be afraid to try new things.
Yeah, experiment.
Check out these new tools. See how they can change your writing. You might unlock some creativity you never even knew you had.
Totally.
And that's it for today. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of AI book writers.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy writing, everyone.